I didn't really think about this. Just know it gets messy. You know, I think I got thrown up on a couple of times. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's just Arden today because we had a very exciting thing happen recently, and that was our beautiful boy, Azariah Jax Bevere, who I know you'll get to see here soon, probably on camera, but as right now, here is a picture of him. We welcomed him to this world on July 26th. And so Christian has been healing up. And so I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to be able to record a video of my raw reaction to labor. It was crazy, no, I'm kidding. It was an incredible experience, but I thought this video would be really helpful for guys who are maybe gonna go through labor with their spouse down the road and didn't have someone to help them prepare for labor and what their role would be, and a dad or a brother, anything that would help them really get ready for this moment. So I wanted to record this video so that it would be helpful and just give my raw reaction to labor and what I witnessed, what I saw my wife go through. So I have 5 things that I took away from labor that I think would be really helpful for you to know before you go into labor, regardless if you are the husband or the wife and going through this situation, or the mom or the dad going through this situation. So the first thing is be prepared to watch your wife fight. This thing was so huge for me because I was not prepared to the extent of watching my wife fight for as long as she did. We had about a 12-hour active labor portion. I think the full labor itself was about 24 hours, but there was active labor for about 12 hours. And I'll be honest with you, for the first 6 hours, I was feeling really good. And I was like, man, I love watching my wife do this. Like I'm encouraging her, I'm standing strong, she's doing so good. And then after about 6 hours of watching your spouse go through something, so painful, it really starts to weigh on you. And for us, we actually did, Christian was really excited. We did a natural birth. We didn't, have Azariah here at the house in a tub, don't worry. We went into and that's great for some people, but for our first boy, we were definitely not gonna be doing that. We ended up actually going through a birthing center, and it was really absolutely incredible. And please know, whatever way you guys choose, that's your decision. And please don't ever let someone fault you for any choice that you guys make on that. Make sure that you guys are fully informed wherever you're going. But as I was saying, is we were doing a all natural labor, and I watched as my wife was just continuing to fight for every single ounce of strength that she had. And for about 12 hours, she labored, and it was a very painful thing for me to experience. And I know that sounds maybe inconsiderate because my wife was going through way more pain, but it was a more internal pain that, physical pain does not bother me as much. And I'm not downplaying what she went through because that was crazy physical pain, but this was more I feel helpless kind of pain. And I was watching my wife navigate the most painful thing that she's gone through, that I've had to go through with her. And I just had to watch kind of from the sidelines as a coach and as a cheerleader. And it was really tough. I will be honest with you. I felt for my wife, and I wanted with everything in me to take all of that pain onto myself and go through this for her. And I remember there was times during that labor process that she would look at me and she's like, get me out of here. I don't want to be here. I want to go to the hospital. Get me an epidural. I don't want to feel anything. I can't do this, because she had been doing it for so long. And for me, I know in those moments, I mean, there were so many times, and I'm not a crier, but I began to start tearing up. And I just was tearing up looking at my wife as she's going through this, and I would just, with tears in my eyes, just continue to remind her, you can do this. God's given you everything you need. You can do this. I know you can. And it was really tough. Because at a certain point, I almost started believing that she couldn't do this. And I started questioning, do I take her to an epidural? Am I doing the wrong thing by not changing the plan? But I knew within me that my wife had dedicated the last 9 months to preparing for this labor, to doing everything that she possibly could to have a natural birth. And I wasn't going to change the plan. So I just continued to keep encouraging her and strengthening her. And I know she is so thankful that she was able to do a natural labor and we didn't change the plan halfway through. And so husbands, be prepared to watch your wife go through that. When I say watch your wife go through that, I'm not saying you're just gonna be sitting on the other side of the room, or you're just gonna be sitting close to her and watching her. No, you better be actively involved in some capacity of applying counter pressure or helping her breathing and talking her through it. But just be prepared for that. I watched this, my wife, she had no energy. After, of course, 6 hours or 12 hours of laboring, she was hardly taking in any water and was not eating anything because she threw up 4 times. And I watched this, she just had no energy, and her contractions were coming probably about 30 seconds apart for maybe 8 hours. And so she only had about a 30-second gap where she was like, her body could relax, and then it would just spike up again. And so I just had to watch her go through that. And I remember there was times where she was actually in the bathtub at the birthing center, and she just was collapsing. And in between, she would just collapse and just lose all energy, all focus. And my heart was just aching because I'm like, is my wife okay? Is everything okay with her? Does she have the strength to be able to do this? So just having kind of an expectation of knowing, hey, you need to be prepared to coach and to strengthen your wife through this. And it is gonna be hard. It's really gonna be hard. But know that God's knit you guys together, and you can encourage her, and you can equip her, you can challenge her, and you can strengthen her, you can encourage her as much as you possibly can to be able to get through that. So second thing is that it gets messy. So this is something I knew there was a part of it that is messy, but I didn't really think about this. Just know it gets messy. I think I got thrown up on a couple of times, and there's a lot of other things that going on, but this is a very beautiful process. And honestly, through that process, there's a lot of exiting the body of things, and that's all I'm gonna say. And so just be firm with her through that process, be dedicated with her through that process. Don't allow yourself to be distracted by those things, but continuing just to encourage her, because she's aware of those things happening. And she might not feel embarrassed because she's so focused in. But the best thing that you can do is just continue to help her through that, not point attention to it or anything like that, but just being a great coach and cheerleader through that. Third thing is have patience and don't get distracted. This is huge. Like I said, we had a 12-hour active labor, and so Christian and I went to the hospital at 12 o'clock at night, so midnight, and she went through active labor until 11:26 the next morning. And so we didn't sleep. And the entire time I just stayed by her and just continued to help her through every time a contraction hit. And I think this was really important because I didn't know how long it was gonna be. And I know Christian definitely felt even more extenuous to her that she wanted to be over sooner. But I just made the dedication of, hey, I'm just gonna take this every single contraction at a time. And I'm not gonna think about, oh man, the sun's coming up, or how long have we been doing this? It's, no, let's just get past the next contraction. And I think that's even great and helpful tip for you speaking to your wife and coaching your wife is, hey, you've got this. Let's just get through this next contraction. Let's not think about how much further along were we, where we're at. Like, let's just take it one step at a time. And within that is knowing it can be a long process. And so you've got to be patient with that process. I think there was only really one time that I almost lost my patience, and I caught myself really fast. And it was that we all decided, you know what, hey, about 3 a.m., let's try to get some sleep. And so Christian laid down. I laid down, I sat by her for a while, but then I finally, after maybe about an hour and a half, decided to get into the bed with her and try to sleep as well. And it was like, every 30 seconds, she would just swing her arm around and hit me. It was like, because she started feeling a contraction, she would hit me and say, apply counter pressure. And so I'd push on her. And I think after like the 10th time of getting woken up to just getting swung at. I was almost really irritated, and I caught myself and realized, you know what, I'm just not gonna sleep. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna keep helping my wife however I can, because I know she needs the rest, and so I'm able to drink water and eat food. I can help her as she's navigating this. So make sure that you have the patience, don't get distracted. I don't think I left her side except for one time to go to the bathroom really quick, and so I think that's really important. So you're having the right people around you is really good, which leads me to my fourth point, which is have the right people in the room. This one is so key. We had an amazing midwives that were helping us, but then we also brought along my sister-in-law, Julie, because she was our doula, and she had told us that she wanted to be there in the room with us, and we really wanted her in there to help coach. And I watched this, when you had the right people in the room, it changed everything. Like it helped my wife so much more. There was not people in the room that were being negative, of being like, hey, how long have we been here? Or, asking questions or asking, hey, how much longer is this gonna go? No, it was everyone that was in the room had a purpose. Everyone that was in the room was doing something, and they were helping Christian get to the ultimate goal of giving birth to that baby. And so I think that is key. Make sure that you're not just being like, hey, if you feel comfortable with doing it, that's great, but make sure as the husband, you protect your wife in that situation. If someone comes into the room, we actually had someone come into the room that was not really being helpful, and my wife gave me our code word, which in the moment, it was pineapples, which really, like how much do you use the code word pineapple within labor? But she very clearly said pineapple, and I just got the person out of the room. I just said, hey, do you mind just going out real fast? Like just leave. And that was helpful. And so as a husband, just make sure that you protect her, that you guard her, and making sure that the right people are in the room, and that they are either helping out with this overall experience. And some people, here's the thing, this is an interesting one, because some people love the more people, the better. They want 15 people in the room, and not, of course, not everyone's gonna be doing something. But I just think if you're having people that are actively involved in that labor, if they're not doing something, make sure, or if they're not helping her progress, make sure they're kind of removed from the situation. Fifth thing is know that this is a timeline. Like everything's a timeline. I remember I had always heard all the stories of labor and people being like, yeah, we went into labor at 10 p.m. at night, and we labored all throughout the night. And I was like, man, why do babies always decide that they want to come in the middle of the night? I'm like, I want my baby to come somewhere in the middle of the day where we're well rested and are able to take on the challenge. And of course, Azariah is like, no, Dad, you don't control that. And he came at midnight, decided to start coming actively at midnight. And so this was something that I was just like, hey, it is what it is. Like, accept what's gonna happen in this situation and be able to adjust accordingly. I think, there's so many things within welcoming a child to the world that can be scary, that really are not. Like, you have all the parents that would be like, oh, well, get ready to never sleep again. And honestly, it's just like, that's not true. Like, yes, your sleep schedule is gonna be changed, and there's gonna be different things that you're gonna have to adjust to. But in this season, as you're going through, getting closer to labor, going through labor, the postpartum period where your wife is healing and your baby's getting adjusted to the world, take it day by day. And just understand that it's a timeline. Like your life is not about to just be, hey, it's gonna be exactly like this forever. And what did I just signed up for? Like, no, just understand there's a timeline. Like there's a timeline for your wife to be able to heal from what she just went through, whether she got a C-section or did epidural and tore, like whatever, however your beautiful baby came into this world, just understand that there is a timeline. And that timeline's gonna change. Just as the timeline of your baby, how much they're sleeping through the night, it's gonna change. And there's some nights, like Azariah sleeps absolutely incredible through the night. And then there's some nights that he'll just stack upon him that he's just like, he just doesn't want to sleep. And I'm like, I don't know why you're not sleeping. But just understanding, having the grace to be able to take it day by day and making sure that you give yourself some grace in that situation, give yourself some grace in that period. And that's throughout labor as well. It's like, don't be getting into labor thinking like, as I was, hey, it's gonna come at the perfect time, or, oh, it's only gonna last for this long. Because then you're gonna be very kind of small in your thinking. Like, be able to take it, hey, we're in the moment. I'm in the moment, and I'm gonna stay in this moment until something changes dramatically. And that's kind of how I was able to look at it through the birthing period. And I'll be honest with you, labor, like I felt like I had enough energy to keep going all throughout the experience until Azariah came. And I think that was huge. And I remember the moment that he came, it was so special. And I got to watch him come. Being in the moment was really important. Having the right people in the room was really important, because he came and he was actually stuck a little bit. His shoulder was stuck on Christian's pelvic. And he came out and his head kind of breached, and I saw his head for the first time. And that was a crazy, amazing experience. But he was just straight purple. And he wasn't breathing or anything like that. And I remember in the moment I started feeling fear kind of grip me a little bit. And I was like, oh my gosh, is something wrong? And I just looked at the midwife, who was a person that we trusted, person we really were excited about being there. And she was completely calm. And she got Christian to switch over, flip over, readjusted, started kind of wiggling him around. And next thing I know, he just flies right out, and she throws him onto Christian's chest so that he can be with his mom. And so all of these things are really important. I was glad that in that moment I didn't freak out and panic, which would have caused Christian to panic, but I trusted the people that were in the room. I trusted the timeline, the moment that we were in, and everything went extremely smooth with his birth. And so that we are grateful. But I know Christian wants to share the full experience of the birth labor process. And so I'm excited for her to share that with us, probably in our next video. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of my raw thoughts on everything that we went through, and just from a husband's perspective. And so I hope this was helpful for some of you guys that maybe don't have, like I said, a dad or an older brother that would share these things with you, or just maybe you do have that, but you just haven't heard these things. Like I have an amazing dad and brothers, but I wasn't prepared for some of these things. And so I'm glad that I get to experience them in that way, and that God prepared me for that situation. And so I know that God will prepare you and grace you and bless you for those situations. So if you guys have any questions about the experience, please leave them down in the comment section below. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And thanks so much. Be looking for that next video so that we can share the full labor, full birthing experience with you guys, because there's a lot of incredible, amazing things that happened that we could just see that God's hand was over the whole situation. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time.